Hello, am I audible to all? Anyone can reply.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So in last class we have studied the ankylostoma. So today we start with the trichinella. So there is an order Pleda, which has three families. That first one is the trichinella, trichoris, and capillaria. So the characteristic feature of this order is that female are larviparous. Female are larviparous. First one is Trichinella spiralis. Trichinella spiralis is a zoonotic parasite. It is a zoonotic nematode. It is present in small intestine of pig, man, and rat. Pig, man, and rat. One of the important feature in its life cycle is, which I have also told earlier, that it is a autoheterogeneous parasite. Autoheterogeneous parasite. So if we see the life cycle of the Trichinella spiralis, then adult worm are present in the small intestine. Then their fertilization occurs there. Fertilization, and here male dies after fertilization. Then female lays that L1 larva, because the female are larviparous here, and that L1 larva enters the lymphatic vessels. Then from lymphatic vessels, that L1 reaches to the skeletal muscles. In skeletal muscles, the larva assumes a characteristic position, that is a coiled position of larva. And here larva remains for years, and when some another host feeds that host, so that type of feeding is known as carry on feeding. When another host feeds the flesh of the host that is carrying that larva in the muscles, then that L1 reaches to the intestine of that predator, and then again it develops into adult in small intestine. And here one thing you have to remember, that for human infection, pig is the major source. So pig is the major source for human infection. Here there are two cycle which you have to remember. First one is sylvatic cycle. It is present in carnivores. And second one is in anthropic cycle. It is present in swine and man. Here, male having a single spicule and female have single ovary. In most of the nematodes, the ovary are double, means genital organs are double in case of female, but here the female is having a single ovary. Another one is trichinella. Here in trichinella, you have to remember that for its diagnosis, इसमें और कोई चीज इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से ट्रिचिनेला में. For a diagnosis, there is one instrument that is known as trichinoscope. In that, we take muscle, and the muscle are digested by the pepsin. Muscle proteins are digested by the pepsin. Then they are examined under microscope. And deep freezing of meat at 15 degrees Celsius, minus 15 degrees Celsius. Deep freezing of meat at minus 15 degrees Celsius. That kills the trichinella larva. For its so this was all about trichinella. Second one is trichuris. Trichuris is also known as whipworm. The characteristic feature of the egg of trichuris is that it is a bipolar egg. It occurs in the intestine. There are various species of trichuris. First one is Trichuris ovis, which is present in cecum and colon of cattle, buffalo, sheep, and goat. Second one is Trichuris discolor. Discolor. It is present. It is also present in cecum and colon of cattle, buffalo, sheep, and goat. Third one is Trichuris vulpis. It is present in cecum of dog and cat. Fourth one is Trichuris Swiss. It is present in cecum and colon of pig. In this, you have to remember that egg are bipolar. So, for diagnosis, in fecal examination, the bipolar eggs are found. Its drug of choice is mebendazole. Drug of choice is mebendazole. Mebendazole. Third one is capillaria. Capillaria life cycle may be direct or it may be indirect. So it resembles trichuris. But what is the difference between capillaria and trichuris is that ki capillaria are smaller and more slender than trichuris. It's it has a characteristic shape. It has a its egg has a characteristic shape that is barrel shaped egg. Barrel shaped egg. And the egg of trichuris was bipolar. Its drug of choice is levamisole. In birds, the species are Capillaria cordenflata. It is present in duodenum of fowl. Second one is Capillaria obsignata. It is present in small intestine of fowl. And third one is Capillaria analis. It is found in ceca of fowl. These all these three species are found in intestine, and the species of Capillaria which are found in crop and esophagus are Capillaria annulata and Capillaria contorta. Its clinical sign are bloody diarrhea, inflammation, and thickening of digestive tract. There are other species of Capillaria which are found in mammals, but they are not of much importance, so I'm not discussing them. Another order is order Spirorida. The characteristic feature of this order is that esophagus is divided into two regions. This order is important. Esophagus is divided into two regions, that is anterior and posterior. So the anterior region is muscular and the posterior region is glandular. The order Spirorida has coiled tail end. They are heterogeneous, means they have indirect life cycle. Their intermediate host is arthropods. In this, the first superfamily is Spiroideae. In this, there are two family. First one is Spiroridae, and second one is Thalassidae. So in Spiroridae, first one is Habronema, and second one is Drachia. These both Hebronema and Dracia are known as stomach worms of equines. Stomach worms of equines. And in Thalassidae, first one is Thalassia, which is known as eye worm. Second one is Spirocerca, which is known as esophageal tumor worm. Third one is Gongylonema. Gongylonema. It is also known as gullet worm. So the family Spiruridae has some characteristic feature. First one is that they have a spirally coiled tail. They have a spirally coiled tail. Like its name, Spirurida, that means something is spiral in that. That's why this family is known as Spiruridae. It has a spirally coiled tail. In that, the first species is Habronema. In this first is Habronema. It has two species. First one is Habronema musca. In the Habronema genus, their first one is Habronema musca and second one is Habronema majus. So Habronema musca occur in stomach of equines, and in this you have to remember that left spicule is 5 times longer than right spicule. Left spicule is 5 times longer than right. And in Habronema majus, it is also present in stomach of equine. Here, left spicule is 2 times longer than right. Another one is Dracia. It resembles the Habronema, and in these Habronema species, the lips contain a cuticular projection. Mouth, mouth contains cuticular projection. Cuticular projections. And in case of Dracia, it resembles the Habronema, but the cuticular projection are absent. In the Dracia, first species is Dracia megastoma. Its characteristic feature is that the head is constricted, constricted of the body. मतलब बॉडी से भी ज्यादा पतला हेड होता है इसका. It is a characteristic feature. You have to remember this. In Dracia megastoma, it is constricted of the body, and in this left spicule is 2 times longer than the right, same as Habronema majus. Left spicule is two times longer than right. So there is one disease that is known as summer sore or barsati. Habronemosis. Habronema causes summer sore. This point is very important. It is also known as barsati or glandular dermatitis. It occurs during the summer, that's why it is known as summer sore. These lesions are commonly found in legs, withers, median canthus of eye, prepuce of male, and Habronema larva has a characteristic feature. ये पॉइंट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. आईसीआर में ये आ भी चुका है कि that Habronema larva has a spiny knob tail. Spiny knob at tail. Habronema larva has spiny knob at tail. Another genus is Thalasia. They are known as eye worms. They are present in conjunctival sac and lacrimal duct of mammals and birds. Conjunctival sac and lacrimal duct of mammals and birds. Their body cuticle are striated. Body cuticle are striated in appearance. In this, the first species is Thalasia rhodesi. It is present in eye of cattle, buffalo, sheep, and goat. It is present in eye of cattle, buffalo, sheep, and goat. This Thalasia rhodesi is most common in India. This is an important point. This Thalasia rhodesi is most common in India. So, which species is most common in India? Which species of Thalasia is most common in India? That is Thalasia rhodesi. And another species is Thalasia scourgeabini. It is present in cattle, buffalo, sheep, goat, eye of cattle, buffalo, and sheep, goat. It is more. It is most frequently found species of Thalasia in India. Most frequently found species of Thalasia in India. There are other species also, but these two species are important from exam point of view. There is one poultry eye worm that is Oxyspira mansoni. In that, you have to remember that it has a R glass shaped esophagus. R glass shaped esophagus. The life cycle of Thalassius species is indirect, involving housefly as intermediate host. The larva is present in proboscis of that housefly. Larva is present in proboscis and it is deposited in eye during feeding. So clinical signs that they are photophobia, corneal opacity, photophobia, corneal opacity, keratitis, conjunctivitis, and all other signs related to the eye. Detection or a diagnosis, eye washes are used. आई को वॉश करेंगे फिर से लैक्राइमल सिक्रीशंस में देखेंगे कि उसमें एक्स प्रेजेंट है कि नहीं इन लैक्राइमल सिक्रीशन एक्स आर प्रेजेंट देयर में भी एक्स भी प्रेजेंट हो सकते हैं या तो फिर L1 लार्वा इज प्रेजेंट L1 लार्वा और एक्स आर प्रेजेंट इन लैक्राइमल सिक्रीशन फॉर इट्स treatment the drug of choice is levamisole. Another genus is Spirocerca. In that species is Spirocerca lupi. It is very important species for the ICR. It is also known as esophageal tumor worm of dog. Esophageal tumor worm of dog. It is present in esophagus, stomach, and aorta of dog. It has two spicules which are unequal in length. Which are unequal in length. Eggs are embryonated. This point is very important. Eggs are embryonated. Its life cycle is indirect. Indirect. So its life cycle is eggs are present in feces. Then these are ingested by the intermediate host. So the characteristic of its egg is that they only hatches when ingested by some host. They do not hatch in the environment. So here the intermediate host is the beetle. So ingestion by the intermediate host, then hatching of eggs occur. Hatching. Then in intermediate host, there is a hatching of eggs. Here one important thing is that the tracheal tube develops in larva in intermediate host. Then there is swallowing of beetle by the host. Then it reaches to the stomach of the host. Then it reaches to the arteries. mainly thoracic, aorta, and gastric artery. Thoracic, aorta, and gastric artery. Then it reaches to esophagus. Then for then from esophagus it reaches to the intestine. Then again comes into the. So the clinical signs are that on aorta there is nodule formation in aorta. So if the nodules are formed in aorta, there is stenosis of aorta, and it also causes granuloma in esophageal wall. Granuloma in esophageal wall, and from esophageal wall, this granuloma metastasize metastatize and may also forms granuloma in lungs. There is one term which is hypertrophic pulmonary osteoarthro osteoarthropathy of long bone. It is caused by that Spirocerca lupi, and its drug of choice is diethylcarbamazine. Diethylcarbamazine. ड्रग ऑफ चॉइस से भी किसी न किसी के ड्रग ऑफ चॉइस से हर साल ही क्वेश्चन आता है. पिछले बार आया था मैथ द कॉलम में. 4 पैरासाइट लिखे थे, उनके ड्रग ऑफ चॉइस बतानी थी. नेमाटोड का ही क्वेश्चन. देन अनदर वन इज गोंगाइलोनेमा, which is also known as a gullet worm. Its characteristic feature is that it has a thick cuticle with transverse striations. Thick cuticle with transverse striations. In that species, first species is Gangailonema pulchrum. It is present in mucosa and submucosa of cattle, buffalo, sheep, goat, pig, horse, camel, donkey. This worm has a characteristic shape. It is zigzag. It lies in a zigzag fashion. So this worm looks like a tailor stitches. Tailor stitches. This you have to remember that Gangailonema pulchrum has zigzag fashion appearance. Another one is Gangailonema varicosum. It is present in rumen of cattle, buffalo, sheep, goat, deer. Rumen and also present in 4 stomach part. So the characteristic feature of this is that it has a festooned cervical LA. It has a festooned cervical LA. Another one is Gangailolema in ingluvicola. Ingluvicola. It is present in crop of fowl. So उसके लाइफ साइकिल अगर देखें तो उसमें जैसे इंटरमीडिएट होस्ट है इसके कॉकरोच और बीटल, और इनको इंजेक्शन होगा फिर इंजेक्शन होगा डेफिनेटिव होस्ट में, फिर डेफिनेटिव होस्ट में इसका डेवलपमेंट होगा, ये इंटेस्टाइन में जाएगा, स्टमक में जाएगा, इंटेस्टाइन में जाएगा, अगेन फीसेस में आ जाएगा। तो this was all about Gangailonema. Another one is Physaloptera. In Physaloptera, pharynx is absent. It has a collar-like projections around the anterior end. Around the anterior end. This Physaloptera in this species is Physaloptera preputialis. Preputialis. It is present in stomach of cat. Here you have to remember that in Physaloptera infection is cat, the feces is dark and terry colored. Feces is dark colored. Feces is dark and terry. Its drug of choice is benzimidazole. Another one is Gnathostomatidae. Gnathostomatidae. The characteristic feature of this order is that it has a tri-lobed lips. Tri-lobed lips. In that first genus is Gnathostoma. Species is Gnathostoma spinigerum. Spinigerum. It is also known as a stomach worm of cat and dog. It is a zoonotic parasite. It is a zoonotic. Here there is one structure we have to remember, that is ballonet. It is present in head bulb. Ballonets are the cavities which are present inside the head bulb. So here you have to remember that ballonet is present. Here anterior two-third of body have spines. The characteristic feature of the egg of Gnathostomatida is that it has a greenish shell, greenish shell ornamented with five granulations. Five granulations. Another important thing is that the egg is passed in the feces in one cell, in one celled or morula stage, and there is a thin cap at one pole, passed out in feces in one celled or morula stage. An egg has a thin cap at one pole. In its life cycle, you have to remember that, which is very important, it has two intermediate hosts in its life cycle. Two intermediate hosts in life cycle. First one is Cyclops and second one is a freshwater fish. Another one is Dirofilaria. Dirofilaria. In that there are four genus. First one is Parafilaria. Second one is Onchocerca, and third one is Setaria. Fourth is Stepnofilaria. Stepnofilaria. So the larvae of filarial worms are known as microfilaria. And if that microfilaria may be of two types, if enclosed in sheath, then it is sheathed microfilaria, and if sheath is not present, then it is unsheathed microfilaria. Adult worm of the filarial worms are present inside the body cavity, also present inside the blood, lymph vessels, and connective tissue of host. Another important point, which is very, very important, that microfilaria shows diurnal or nocturnal periodicity. This is very, very important. Microfilaria shows diurnal or nocturnal periodicity. So, first family is Filaridae. In this, first one is Dirofilaria, and in Dirofilaria, the first species is Dirofilaria immitis. It is known as the heartworm of dog. It occurs inside the pulmonary artery, occurs in pulmonary artery and right ventricle. It is also present in right ventricle of dog, cat, and carnivores. Dirophyraria are white in color. So life cycle is that suppose microfilaria is present in blood, and suppose mosquito, when mosquito sucks the blood, there is development of L3 inside the mosquito. Then L3 reaches to the mouth of mosquito. Then from mouth it again reaches to the definitive host during feeding. Then in definitive host it reaches the heart, and again it is present in blood. There is one another species of Dirophylaria, that is Dirophylaria repens. In this you have to remember that it is present in subcutaneous tissue. Clinical signs of Dirophylaria includes circulatory distress. Another most important clinical sign is chronic congestive right side heart failure. Chronic
सर
conge
एक्सक्यूज मी सर
हाँ
सर थोड़ा
what
प्लीज स्लो पढ़ाइए ना सर फास्ट हो रहा है।
तो ये बहुत सारा है इसमें नेमाटोड्स में।
सर एक्चुअली हम लिख नहीं पा रहे थे जल्दी, थोड़ा स्लो था।
ठीक है। So clinical signs includes circulatory distress, and the most important clinical sign is chronic congestive right side heart failure. It also causes pulmonary emboli. It is mainly caused due to the dead worms. Another important clinical sign is vena cava syndrome. Vena cava syndrome. How this vena cava syndrome is formed? That if large amount of worms are if large amount of worms are lodged in post vena cava, and अगर लार्ज अमाउंट ऑफ वर्म लॉस्ड हो जाएंगे पोस्ट वेना कावा में, तो उससे क्या वेना कावल ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन होगा, लीडिंग टू द वेना कावल सिंड्रोम. And in that vena cava syndrome there is hemoglobinuria, bilirubinemia, and hemoptysis, hemoglobinuria, and bilirubinemia. It also blocks the renal capillaries and causes glomerulonephritis. Blocks renal capillaries and causes glomerulonephritis. Its drug of choice is not drug of choice. For its treatment, arsenical thiacetarsomide is used. Arsenical thiacetarsomide. Another one is paraphilaria. In this first species is paraphilaria bovicola. It forms hemorrhagic nodules in skin of cattle and buffalo. Also present in yak. It is reported in Arunachal Pradesh in India. Paraphilaria bovicola, you have to remember that it causes summer bleeding. इनसे डायरेक्टली ओटी आती है कि डिसीजेस कॉज बाय पैराफाइलेरिया भी, और आगे अभी जो कंटिन्यूअस अभी 2-3 पैरासाइट आने वाले हैं, उनसे कौन कौन से डिसीज होते हैं, उनसे डायरेक्ट ओटी आती है और हर साल ही आती है. तो पैराफाइलेरिया बोविकोला कॉजेज समर ब्लीडिंग. इट इज ऑल्सो नोन एज हेमरेजिक डर्मेटाइटिस और हेमरेजिक नोडुलर डिसीज. Its drug of choice is nitroxinil. Nitroxinil. Another species is Paraphilaria multipapillosa. Paraphilaria multipapillosa. It is present in subcutaneous tissue and connective tissue, and in subcutaneous tissue and connective tissue of horse, donkey, and mule. Horse, donkey, and mule. Here, the nodules which are formed, they are more nodular than Paraphyleria bovicola. The lesions are more nodular than Paraphyleria bovicola. Paraphyleria bovicola is present in case of cattle, and Paraphyleria multipapillosa is present in case of horse, donkey, and mule. Another parasite is Onchocerca. They are present in connective tissue. एक चीज और इम्पोर्टेंट है वोटिक के हिसाब से, इससे रिलेटेड नहीं है, जो मैंने पहले पढ़ाया था कि इन एस्केरिसम देयर इज फॉर इट डायग्नोसिस देयर इज वन काउंटिंग सिस्टम, दैट इज मैक्लियन काउंटिंग सिस्टम. This was also asked in the previous year ICR exam. Yes, there is some. There is one MacLean counting system. Onchocerca is present in connective tissue. Their their species are, first one is Onchocerca armillata. It causes aortic aneurysm in cattle, buffalo, sheep, and goat. Another one is Onchocerca gutrosa. Onchocerca gutrosa causes river blindness. The disease caused by Onchocerca are very important. So Onchocerca gutrosa causes river blindness. It is present in ligamentum nuchae, ligamentum nuchae, and also present in other parts of body like stifle, scapular cartilage. But in this, you have to remember only the river blindness. River blindness is caused by Onchocerca gutrosa. Third one is Onchocerca gibsoni. It occurs in connective tissue below the skin, and it forms nodules. And here the nodules are known as worm nests. Worm nests. So worm nests are present in case of Onchocerca gibsoni infection. वर्म नेस्ट में क्या होता है कि बीच में फाइब्रस टिश्यू होगा, टिश्यू कैप्सूल होगी, उसके चारों ओर जो होंगे वो वर्म्स आर प्रेजेंट. So in Onchocerca gibsoni, the worm nest are present. Fourth species is Onchocerca cervicalis. Onchocerca cervicalis is present in ligamentum nuchae of horse and mule. It causes fistulous wither. Fistulous wither. Fistulous wither is also caused by Brucella species, but if in question there are options like कि उसमें Onchocerca भी है, Brucella भी है, तो then Onchocerca is correct, and both बोले तो both correct है. अगर एक सेलेक्ट करना हो तो fistulous wither is caused by Onchocerca cervicalis. Another parasite, Sitaria. Sitaria is present in peritoneal cavity. Species include Citeria digitata. It is present in cattle and buffalo. Here, the immature worm are found in CNS of abnormal host, not in normal host. Immature worm are found in CNS of abnormal host like sheep, goat, and horse. And here it causes a typical disease that is known as angiotic cerebrospinal nematodosis. This is very important. It causes angiotic cerebrospinal nematodosis. It is this disease occurs in case of abnormal host. If Ceteria digitata is present in abnormal host, then it causes angiotic cerebrospinal nematodosis, and in normal host, it does not cause the disease. Another species is Ceteria labiato papilosa. It is present in cattle and buffalo. Its characteristic feature is that the tail has a prominent rosette type structure. Tail has rosette like structure. Rosette like shape. Tail has a rosette like shape.
सर इस स्पीसीज का नाम क्या है?
Ceteria labiato papilosa. Another species is Ceteria equina. It is present in eye of equines, so it causes photophobia, lacrimation. In this, you have to remember that Ceteria digitata and Ceteria labiato papilosa, they mainly cause disease in abnormal host. Abnormal host mainly cause disease mainly in abnormal host. It does not cause any severe disease in case of their normal host. In normal host, they are generally non-pathogenic. So in abnormal host, during the migration of larva, they causes the disease. Like in like I have already discussed that exotic cerebrospinal lematodosis is caused in abnormal host. Here, clinical sign includes incoordination and paraplegia. Incoordination and paraplegia. This is also known as lumbar paralysis. In sheep and goat, and also known as कुम्बरी in case of horses. ये सारे पॉइंट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. This angiotic cerebrospinal nematodosis is known as lumbar paralysis in case of sheep and goat, and कुम्बरी in case of horses. Another parasite is Staphylophile. So, first species is Staphylophile assamensis. It causes hump sore in cattle. It causes hump sore in cattle. Second one is Staphylophile zahiri. It causes ear sore in buffalo. Here, clinical signs in Staphylococcus includes verminous dermatitis, which is also known as cascada. Cascada. For its diagnosis, deep skin scrapings, because its larva is present inside the skin. That's why deep skin scraping is used in case of it's used in diagnosis of Staphylococcus. For treatment of hump sore, organophosphorus compounds are used. They are applied topically. For treatment of ear sore, 5% formalin is used or 4% sumethion or 6% malathion is used for the treatment of ear sore. Another one is dracunculus. This is the last parasite for today's class. So in this, the species is Dracunculus mediatensis medinensis. Sorry, Dracunculus mediensis. In our veterinary symbol, this species present in our veterinary symbol. So the characteristic feature of this Dracunculus mediatensis is that the male worm die after copulation. Anterior helmet is present. The Dracunculus mediatensis, Dracunculus medinensis is also known as guinea worm or dragon worm or serpent worm. Its intermediate host is Cyclops, and this disease is not of much importance because it is eradicated from India. Eradicated from India, and for its treatment, previously nitrid, nitridazole and thiabendazole were used. This nitridazole is the drug of choice for Dracunculus mediatensis. So this was all about for today. Some parasites are remaining, which I will teach you tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Because tomorrow डॉक्टर आयुषी वो थोड़ा ज्यादा क्लास लेगी क्योंकि उसकी आज थोड़ा क्लास छूट गई है शायद. तो जो रिमेनिंग पैरासाइट्स है उनको मैं कल या तो कल के बाद पढ़ा दूंगा. 5-6 ही बचे हैं. उसके बाद कुछ चीजें हैं एग से रिलेटेड, एग काउंटिंग से रिलेटेड, फीकल एग्जामिनेशन से रिलेटेड, वो थोड़ा बहुत ओटी के हिसाब से बता दूंगा. उसके बाद पैरासिटो खत्म. उसके बाद नेक्स्ट अपन शुरू करेंगे पैरासिटो के बाद एनाटॉमी से शुरू करेंगे. उसकी बोन्स और मसल्स नर्व से सब पढ़ लेंगे. उसके बाद अपन सर्जरी पढ़ेंगे. अब पूरी एनाटॉमी नहीं पढ़ेंगे, केवल बोन्स, मसल्स और नर्व पढ़ेंगे. उसके बाद अपन सर्जरी पढ़ेंगे. ठीक है, तो दैट्स ऑल फॉर टुडे. आई एम गोइंग टू एंड द क्लास.